Hello and welcome back to Super Solvers, Gizmos, and Gadgets. We are on to our final vehicle and very near to the end. I don't know what it actually is, but we're going to find out. We had a blimp, a glide. This is actually the most diverse of all of the ones. We had just a bunch of cars. We had at least we had a bike and a solar thing here, and then two electric and a hydrogen. And then we had a blimp, a glider, regular engineer craft, a helicopter, and what is the last thing? A personal jet. Of course it is. You know, every time one of these comes up, I do have some vague recollection. So I must have even though I'm 99% sure I never finished this game in full, I must have at least seen, either in my personal play or watching somebody else, each one of these at some point. But yeah, I do have some recollection of the personal jet. All right. Well, yeah, and then the components are in the cockpit, and the various wings. Fastest jet will have a wing with the largest angle or highest sweep. Let's see. Rounded front edge on your airfoil creates more drag than a sharp front edge. That's not exactly true. Thin airfoil with a sharp front edge. All right, well, off we go. Wow, look at this one. Here's what we're gonna do. I don't want to go up all the way right away. So what I'm like for the one time in the entire game. So I'm gonna do this, then come out at this direction so I don't go on to the next one, and then go in here and reject this puzzle. And reject that puzzle as well. Are we back to magnets and gears? No, thank you. All right. Is that the front? Yeah, it's the front. It is nice that once you finally get it in place, it sticks. But it's hard to know if you got it right. It doesn't give you a different... It should give you a different noise when it's like affirmative that you placed it correctly. Thin with a rounded front edge. Alright, so I'm going to go out this one because I think that's how I get down. That's weird. It does seem to sometimes have a polarity to it, even though incandescent light bulbs are kind of fine without that. Well, that appears to have been a bit of a waste of time, but let's go this way just in case. Aha! Not a waste of time. Wing with no sweep. No thanks. Alright. Thick airfoil around front edge. Nope. We'll just toss that one now, actually. Let's go out here. That was a weird new noise. Let's see. Light energy, no nuclear energy, mechanical energy. I think that's about right. I was just thinking about a nuclear horse. Nuclear powered horse sounds pretty sick. I'm gonna write that book. Turbojet engines. Are all the engines the same? I didn't read that bit. You know what? I'm gonna go this way first, just to see what this one looks like. Oh, we only went over one. I thought we had gotten all the way over. Nope, now I keep overshooting. Although, well, now I feel tempted to just go in and out of all these doors. What are we working with here? I think it's like that. Yeah. Okay, I know none of you are playing that. Well, maybe some of you are playing this. Whenever it's doing the thing where it fills in the color and plays the sound, it locks my mouse, and it really freaks me out. I don't know. Something about that just makes me very uncomfortable. I'm not sure if that's a reasonable feeling or not, but it's what I got. I guess we're just gonna go through all these doors, actually. Something tells me that one box... I have some vague recollection of that box placement being important. Which may be entirely baseless, but... listen. Sometimes you just gotta listen to the mind goblins. Why? That was easy. What a weird puzzle. Just go in and out of every door. Well, don't... You know, I was gonna make fun of that one, but... And I think I sort of made fun of it before, but honestly, like, does it tell you anything about polarity? Negative end of one battery must be connected to the positive end of the other battery. Yeah, it does. Okay. Again, it's buried under the hint, but like, I don't know, especially when you can just cancel out of these puzzles. What's to stop kids from just saying, I don't know, I don't get it, and hitting the go back button instead and looking for another one? I feel like this Swifttail mounted high. I actually don't want to open that door. There's nothing back there. I know that. I would like to... This is a game I could see being remade these days. But with a... It would definitely need a rework, not only of like the science and the puzzles in general, but also just, I think it could really do with a little bit more of a focus on like a sequence of learned concepts, right? Obviously, like I've said, I think there's some stuff in here that's kind of inappropriate for kids in the first place. Just the like, I don't know. How are you going to explain nuclear power to kids? You can't really, like, how are you going to explain nuclear chemistry to, like an 8 to 12-year-old? I'm not saying it's impossible. In fact, I think that's one of the hallmarks of a good. So knowing your own subject very well and of being a good teacher is your ability to articulate a very complex concept in a simple way. But especially for a video game, really, you're gonna explain like even basic nuclear chemistry to a kid? I mean, that's like, yeah, I don't see it happening. I'm not saying it's impossible. I doubt it. But it would really serve them well to like serve a potential successor or remake, to have like a more focused curriculum that rather than delivering you a sequence of seemingly random puzzles without a distinct... Really? Without a distinct sequence of lessons, it becomes not nearly as useful. I believe that's the one they said was best. 15-degree sweep. So being able to deliver like lessons that make clear how like the connected concepts work, I think would be a way to expand upon the like fundamental concepts while also adding clarity in a sense. Lots of these things are super important, and frankly, I've been thinking a little bit that controls that use tubes. I didn't even read that part. I think there's, to be perfectly frank, a whole bunch of scientific concepts in this game that most adults probably do not understand. Which is disappointing, to say the least. But, hey, there's only so much you can expect out of an education system that does such a poor job often of... wait, what am I missing? Oh. Poor job of science education. I mean, to my earlier point, I would say the vast majority of American adults probably don't understand basic nuclear chemistry, even in like a fundamental sense. But to get back to something I was talking about, I think in the very first episode, is basically like, it's all about how it's taught. You can teach complex concepts in ways that are both engaging and meaningful if you're... Of course it's bananas. I had to make a choice between those two jumps, and I had hoped that was the better one. You know, you still... One of my pet peeves, actually, to make a slight pivot, is when I hear people say, oh, you never use math in real life. And that's just not true. Lots of math is incredibly useful. Now, I will say that I don't think everybody needs to learn calculus. I am not a great fan of math, but like, I use algebra and trig and all the, like, some other high school advanced math concepts all the time. They are very practically useful. I understand that people may not have that same mentality, and it's not that you can't get through. Let's see. No, that was too much. I meant the 3. Now I gotta wait. You can certainly get through life without, you know, ever needing to do those calculations, but do they make life a little easier? Yeah, sure. So when it comes to science and math, I think there's a responsibility to, you know, in the name of fostering a more productive, more intelligent society, to like deliver complex concepts in ways that are meaningful to real people in real ways, you know? Show people the ways in which the things that they're learning are actually applicable to their real life. You know, if you give people an idea of how they might actually be able to use it, they might care more on a fundamental level. But in a similar vein, when you get to complex concepts like nuclear chemistry, not everybody needs to know how like a nuclear reactor works top to bottom. Or even, you know, in a general sense. But helping people understand, like, getting away from the like, especially nuclear, because this was a good one to key in on, because nuclear has a lot of misinformation that's circulated around it, especially because, you know, throughout the basically in the post World War II era and the you know, the Cold War and all that, events like anything from 3 Mile Island to Chernobyl and all these other, like Fukushima most recently, you know, people get this very alarmist attitude. I assume the computer and motor is probably the best one. Let's see what this is. Cables. Nice. That, like, if people had a basic education about some of the topics, just to understand what does and doesn't happen, or what is and isn't possible, then they can make more informed and more informed decisions and have a better understanding and not be subject to, you know, disinformation campaigns or whatever else. Tail cone's shallow angles. I mean, I'm surprised that the tail cone is even a part, honestly. Wow, there's a lot of parts in here. There we go. There's our best wings. That's sweet. All right, so I'd like to go up 2 levels because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes up there. Let's see what we're getting. So, you know, understanding in education, understanding also where to, like, cut the level of importance, right? If it's important for somebody to understand a concept, or it's useful for somebody to understand a concept, they may not need to understand the entire thing. Okay, so I'm going to go out the other door neighboring this one and go up 2. And I think that should give us a good place to be. Are you moving or not? I think... Oh, there we go. The animation stops when it's... It's just as important to deliver accurate information as it is to determine where the end of it being meaningful is. All right? I'd rather have somebody understand a complex concept partially, but have a reasonably accurate understanding of it, than not understand it at all, or write it off as, you know, rogue intellectualism or whatever. Despite the people's best efforts, there's still a surprisingly strong anti-intellectualist bent, especially in American culture, but in lots of different stuff. And the best way to get over that is to help people give people reason to want to educate themselves rather than tell people they have to be educated. I've gone on a whole tangent here, but hopefully it's interesting. Again, to me, this all seems to be completely apolitical, but I understand that to some people it may not seem that way. How did I even get on this topic specifically again? Does anybody remember? I sure don't. Shallow angle. I'm gonna assume the blunt end sucks. Steep angle. I would think the shallow angles one is probably the best. And I still need what part? Tail cone with steep angles, tail cone with shallow angles. Hold on a second, I'm gonna look it up. Thin and pointed, tail cone with shallow angles is the best one. Okay. I don't even know why I'm picking this up, although, I mean, it's mostly just to get it off the board so that I'm not looking at it going, I should go pick that up. Okay, so I still need to get down a level from this side, which is going to be harder now. You know what? Oh, we'll go out this door and then back in below. There we go. Here's another one. Understanding like practical stuff like how keys work. Oh, that's me being an idiot there. I had that backwards. way to show your own wrongness there. You know, there's lots of simple machines that we use in everyday life that the vast majority of people have no idea how they work, and they're not that complicated to understand, but at no point does anybody give you any education on how a key works. Or what might be, like, we've largely got such a blasé attitude about something is broken, I'll just call somebody, or I'll just buy a new one, rather than fixing things or trying to understand how things work. And that's not solely a problem with, you know, with the general public either. That is very much a marketing thing as well. What am I missing here? I guess where we have an economy that is where companies and people who produce products are very focused on them being hands off, to the point of stuff like right to repair being, you know, the consumer right to repair has gone by the wayside. We mostly have an economy that makes stuff that is use it until it breaks and then throw it away, where stuff is deliberately turbofan, I assume, but one says computers. Let's see. Turbofan engines with electronic computer controls. Why would that be better than turbojet? I mean, I guess it's probably a nicer ride, but turboprop. There's another thing. Most people don't know the difference between turbojet, turbofan, and turboprop, which are all different types of engines. Obviously, they're different types of engines. What the fuck does that mean? But like, there's so many. I guess I don't know. I recognize that I'm in the minority of just like, I'm curious about everything. I want to know how the world works. Wait a minute. So like, anytime I find out there's something I don't understand, I want to learn more. And I understand that that motivation is not present in everyone, or not to the same extent. But like, I don't know. there often seems to be so much resistance to learning new things, as if it's not worth people's time or it's not inherently interesting. I guess I just don't understand that mentality. The world is fascinating. It is filled with many things. And those things are complicated and interesting, and the more you know, the more your imagination can run, and the more you can, you know, find what you want to do in the world. The more resources you have in your mind, the more, I guess this is right, the more concepts you can come up with, the more you can understand what you may be able to contribute to society, or how you can improve your own life, or all these other things. I mean, to me, it all ties together. That why would you ever not want to learn something? Well, that's a pretty blanket statement that I don't necessarily mean, but like, there are very few things you don't necessarily want to learn. Even the hard things, whether they're, you know, literally difficult or just unpleasant. But how the heck? Okay, that's an open door. I'm gonna use that. Anyway, what I'm saying is, I hope that we are socially and culturally evolving towards a place where more people are more interested in learning for learning's sake, and where a nearly 30-year-old video game for 8 to 12-year-olds does not surpass the scientific understanding of a substantial amount of the general adult population. Boy, that's fucking depressing, but I mean it genuinely. I guess. Oh, I know what it is. It's the light up here. It's not this. Because there's a tiny little light bulb that it's like there's a 1 pixel light bulb in there, so technically that counts. Anyway. Oh, damn it, of course. All right. You know what? I'm going to end the episode here. When we come back, we're going to open that door. We're going to see what else we've got. And see how much more we have to do. And then that'll probably be the last episode. So I'll see you guys for that next time.